Welcome back, Shalligators. Can you believe the news we're gonna discuss today? That pun was terrible, I'm so sorry. Justin and Hailey having a baby. Daddy is gonna be a daddy. Can you believe this? Do you feel old? I mean, I feel old more often than you might. You, however, this might be like a jarring moment for you where you're like, a celebrity who always seemed like a baby is having a baby and you're like, wait a minute, I'm so sorry. Ugh, is this adulthood? Like life is like rolling on. Like there's now another generation, which when you say it out loud sounds like the most obtuse, borderline simple Jack kind of thing, you know, that you can say. But when you're feeling it, it's just, it rocks your world. I remember when my very first friend to have a baby got pregnant, I was like catatonic. I couldn't even speak. I was like the world was just shifting in and out. And sometimes you can feel like that about celebrities. Do you have a celebrity couple that you kind of like have this weird parasocial relationship on where you like fixate on them and when something good or bad happens, like you feel it. You feel it like it's happening to you or someone you know intimately. Who is that couple? For me, it's Justin and Hailey. You guys know I love them. I have this weird stan-ship relationship with them. But yet, listen, I love a lot of celebrities that we talk about here. Kim, Taylor, most of the time. But we can still shoot each other straight about what goes on, you know? Like, we can look at these people as impartially as sometimes we would look at our friends. Be like, I love her, but what the fuck is she doing? So today we're gonna talk about this baby news. Is this a wonderful thing that we're all celebrating? Or is it like, oh God. Hailey's just about to have her second child actually. Because is Justin not enough of a thing for her to take care of? Why would you double down on this? When should you have a baby? How do you know that a man is a good fit for being a father? We're gonna talk about it all. And listen, you guys know I don't have kids. And so you can, maybe my opinion will weight heavier or lighter. I don't know, but we're just gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it and also break down the dynamics of their vow renewal because I have some thoughts about vow renewals that have almost never been proven wrong. Almost never. You might be surprised what I have to say, but before we get started, you guys, I hate to be a tease. But I am gonna tease something. In a few days, next week, we have something big. Actually, we have two big things coming. Trips to Italy. I've been working really, really hard with two different travel companies, boutique, incredible agencies, one based in Italy, one based in Monaco, so you know it's good. Coming up with some really incredible custom itineraries for two different trips to Italy. One is gonna take us from Rome, Tuscany, up to Florence. It's gonna be focused on history and art and culture and sisterhood and bonding and all of this good stuff. The next one, La Dolce Vita, the Amalfi Coast. I have not been to the Amalfi Coast in years. I've been dying to go back and I've been wanting to put together a high-end luxury trip which is going to take us to the best of the best places, the Pinterest board places, the jet set socialite places, the places you go that everyone is going to be jealous of that really embody the Amalfi Coast. When you see those pictures, that's where we're going. So I'm really excited to announce these. The Amalfi Coast trip is going to be early September and the Rome, Tuscany, Florence trip is going to be basically early mid-October of this year. I know they're coming up, but you know, I feel like why wait another year? My favorite thing to do is travel, and I really wanted to plan trips that I myself would want to go on. You know, I wanted to travel at the level that I am used to and bring you guys into my world. All right, I'm so excited. And if you want to be kept in the loop, go ahead and click the link, the very first link right in the description box and submit your email to stay in the loop so you guys can be the very first to know when I launch it. These are small trips. We're gonna do 10 to 12 people. Typically my trips can go up to 20 people. I wanted to keep this small, keep them real nice. We're staying at very nice boutique hotels, a much more intimate group. So yeah, go ahead and leave your email to be notified about it. And I'm not going to sell your information or spam you because I don't know how. I would sell the information of some people I know in real life because they're my frenemies. Okay, I'm gonna put that on my to-do list today. Okay, so let's talk Justin and Hailey. So they made the announcement that they're expecting a baby with a vow renewal video that seemed to be made by, I don't know, a sixth grader. It's got this weird music. He's wearing kind of a sheer wedding dress with a veil wrapped around her head. It's blustery. Justin has on a backwards baseball cap, and it seems like maybe he really stepped it up and took a shower within the past week for this. So why did they renew their vows? Do you guys want to know my feeling on vow renewals? I'm so glad you asked. You didn't. I worked in a celebrity magazine, as you know, for a long, long time. And I noticed an almost unmistakable correlation between a vow renewal and a divorce within a year, 18 months at the outside. Why? It seems like a Hail Mary. It seems like one of those things that a woman will suggest to like renew our commitment to each other, or that a man would offer up. This especially was true about like Real Housewives who were doing a vow renewal. It's kind of like, this will keep her busy for a year. Like, sure, yeah, let's renew our fucking vows. Like, here's a credit card. Just, you want a horse and a carriage? Fine, I don't care. Just get out of my office. Get out of my office, Teresa. Just whatever they wanted. It's kind of like how some husbands will do that, but they'll give their wife a boutique to open, and she's like, it's wine o'clock. And they just like sink money into it and it goes nowhere. Vow renewals, it seemed like one of those things, yeah, that was just kind of a curse. Do you know who used to renew their vows every year? Heidi Klum and Seal. Remember that? And they would do like really weird themes, like white trash, and everyone have those like redneck denture mask things. And like Under the Sea, like they would have all these weird themes, and they would do it every fucking year. And boy, oh boy, did they have a contentious divorce. I don't know. I just feel like the need to publicly display that is maybe a red flag. Maybe for normal people, it isn't. But I think for celebrities, like I said, I saw an unmistakable correlation. It was like, set the clock. And I was almost always right. Do we think that this is the case with Justin and Hailey? Now, I don't know. Now, what I had always heard about their sort of like marital origin story is that they went and got married at a courthouse. Remember that? And they've been married for like 7 years. It's crazy. I mean, they lasted a lot longer than I did. I had always heard that they had that courthouse wedding because she was pregnant, and it was like a shotgun wedding, and then that didn't work out. She had a miscarriage, but you know, they obviously stayed together and had a big wedding otherwise. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's weird that they're doing a vow renewal, and maybe it's a curse. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they're just like, hey, this is totally the time to reaffirm our commitment to each other. They have lasted certainly longer than Hollywood couples, but most full-grown, like adults in their 30s and 40s, I know, like a lot of those people don't stay married for 7 years. That's a while. And certainly to be married that long without kids, because I think we all know that a lot of people stay married for the kids. We're staying together for the kids. Once Braxton goes away to college in 12 years, maybe we'll get divorced. Like, bitch, stop putting that on your child and acting like, oh, you're being so selfless staying together for them. What you are is actually afraid, and you're being a puss. And that child is absorbing all of the tension and all of the sadness in that house, and you're modeling for them what a marriage should not look like, right? And so, but they're gonna see how that plays out and think that that's normal, and they're gonna seek out ways to replicate that dynamic going forward. AKA, it's bad. That's bad. Don't do that. I don't think you're doing a kid any favors by staying together just for them. If you like really don't want to be there, demonstrate that life is within your own hands and there is happiness after divorce, and sometimes two separately happy parents are better than two miserable ones under the same roof. Because if you were a child who lived through that, do you look back on your parents and you're like, oh, that was for my benefit? Okay. You guys were at each other's throats like all the time. Or did you not know that things were bad and you're like, oh, now I carry all this guilt that like everyone in the household was miserable, but I was like, Legoland. Do you feel like gaslit through your whole life? I don't know. But Hailey and Justin aren't there. They're still in the throes of all of this happy news. So I asked you guys on Instagram, what's the topic here? What do you think? So let's see what some people said. And I also asked you the topic for Kendall Jenner and her anxiety, because that's literally all she seems to be able to talk about. Her tequila, which I have never in my entire life heard of or seen someone order or drink ever one time. Yeah, it's anxiety and tequila. I was like, have you ever considered that one could be fueling the other? Anyway, I put that out as a topic, potential idea, and then we heard about Justin and Hailey, but we will get to Kendall. Don't you worry. Okay. Here is a topic I almost chose. Your best friend is pregnant and married to the worst guy ever. How are you going to still be friends with her? I think that this could be an excellent follow-up topic. How to be happy for a friend who's making a huge mistake. Another potential topic, check on Selena. What fuckery will she pull out of thin air? Thanks guys. I'm gonna delete my social media. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How are we counting down until this happens? Is she gonna have another exhaustion stay in the hospital? Is that what's gonna happen? She's gonna fucking lose it. And in some ways I feel for her, because it's one thing when your ex or a love of your life gets married, because hey, they can get divorced, they can come back to you. A baby? Boom, that is the nail in the coffin. If you haven't experienced that yet, holy shit. Buckle up. Buckle up. When your ex has a baby, we could do a topic on that, like how to move on when they have moved on. Like, really moved on. But I'll say, the number one time a man cheats is when a woman is pregnant. That's a topic. We're trying to keep things a little happy. The obvious topic suggestion, are they doing it to save their marriage? A lot of you guys are very positive. You're like, they've overcome so much, how this is like a really wonderful thing. I think that that's true. They really have. Just the publicity, Selena and that bullshit, which is why I think I'm so drawn to them as a couple, because the dynamics of what they deal with, people talking about them, him being just up and down and up and down, the ex who's always inserting herself. We deal with this on the micro. You don't have to be Justin and Hailey to go through these emotions and understand what these trials and tribulations feel like, which is the whole point of this channel. How to raise both your husband and your child. Ooh, how to transition to a new stage of your life. That's really interesting. Honestly, I don't feel qualified to speak on that. Because if you're new here and you don't know, I don't have kids and I don't want kids. And I really feel like I feel compelled by your suggestion of how to know when it's right to have kids. I don't know, because that has never bloomed from inside of me. And maybe that's actually the answer. Maybe this is just a decision you make with your heart and not with your head. But I think we can look around society and perhaps even in our own families and see that, most people are making this decision with their heart or other body parts and not enough with their head. They're jumping into parenthood with no real concept of what it means, no financial plan, no logistical plan. Do you live near anybody's family? It does take a village. There's a reason people stay in small towns, because that's where the rest of their extended family is, and they need someone to watch the kid. If they want to go to work, they can't stay at home. There are a lot of things to consider. And I think when people really, really want a baby, or they're really, really in love, they have this attitude of, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And I don't think that that's an altogether inappropriate attitude. And I know I hate to be this person who compares babies and dogs, but I am that person. Sorry. This is just one prong of my many spiked things that why I'm terrible. Anyway, that was my attitude when I got Cowboy. He literally was dropped into my lap. I was on a ranch doing some barrel racing work. I was gonna be there for a week, and they're like, do you wanna see the puppies our hunting dog just had? And I was like, yes. And he was like a little taco, 3 weeks old, just in my lap. And I was like, fuck. I was done. I was a goner. I was his mom from that minute on. I had no plan. I had no intention. I knew it wanted a dog, but I didn't think it was gonna happen that day. And I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I've got the money, I've got the time, I've got the logistical flexibility. However, a dog and a baby, the similarities differ real quick. And so on one hand, that is the right attitude to go into any situation with. I'll figure it out. I've never been to Spain before. I'll figure it out. I've maybe not 100% qualified for this job. I'll figure it out. That is really a can-do attitude, because the root of that attitude is confidence, and the root of that confidence is grit. What is grit? Grit means you get knocked down, you get your ass back up again. You're resilient. And we build confidence not through the wins. We actually build confidence through the losses, through that grit, proving to ourselves, hey, the worst case happened. I lost that student government election. I got laughed off the stage. I didn't get that promotion. I did get dumped. I got ghosted. And you know what? The sun's still shining, man. God's still on the throne. I picked myself up. I was down for a minute, but I did keep going. And there's still good times. And I actually learned from it. And you know what? Even if I didn't, I just didn't let it stop me. And if you can go into parenthood with that attitude, I mean, you're setting yourself up for a lot of success. But I think I have honed in on the one thing you need to ask yourself if you're considering having a baby with a man. One emotional sort of like scenario to play out that will let you know whether or not this man will make an effective father. And you can use this even if you're not considering having a baby with a man. If you use this metric that my friend and I came up with, you will have an almost foolproof weeding out system for men. Baby or no baby, this test will tell you everything you need to know. It is called the airport test. I travel a lot. I'm going to travel with you guys. And one of my best friends, Becca, she came up with this. She's like, the airport test. When I'm dating someone, I imagine that it's like a year or two down the road, we're at the airport, all the flights are canceled. I've got a toddler who's screaming, everyone's melting down. Can I look at this man and say, fix it? Will this man be part of the problem? Will he be another thing I have to manage? Or will he be part of the solution? Will he say, sit down, open your snack, sit with the baby, I will sort out our flights. I've got this. You sit there, I've got this. Do you trust that when shit hits the fan, this man can be a helper and not part of the problem? And I remember her and I discussing this because at the time, the guy I was dating, we were traveling a lot together, and I literally stopped loving him. After a trip to Vermont, I remember looking at him and saying, I don't know if I love you anymore. And he was like, what? I'm like, you have been a nightmare on this trip. You can't drive. You couldn't check us into the hotel. You couldn't figure out directions. Like, you were our combat ineffective, as the saying in the Army goes. Everything that I tasked you with, you failed. You failed. And I had to do it, which was more annoying than me just having to do it in the first place, because I thought you were going to be able to take care of it. You couldn't. And you know, looking back, I should have dumped his ass right then. I should have, because it was just the tip of the iceberg. And we were still very much in the like, ooey gooey first 6 months lovers stage. I wasn't sick of him. I wasn't like, ugh. We weren't living together in the drudgery of day-to-day life and who's changing the filter and the vacuum cleaner, blah, blah, blah. We were still just like, it was the great stage. And it like butted up against the truth of who he was. And let me tell you, that assessment, that airport test was not wrong. It was not wrong. That dynamic, him being useless when it really came down to it, expanded out. And I started to see it everywhere. It's like the glasses came off and I started to like my vision cleared, and I was like, can you not just order the fucking Uber for where we're at? What is with you and this DoorDash delivery guy? Like everything was an issue with him. I had to constantly hover and micromanage and be like, well, did you ask for extra sauce? But did you write it in the box? Not, okay, no. It's not going to come with the extra sauce, and then it's going to be an issue. I couldn't trust him. I couldn't trust him. And it sounds like, oh, okay, well, Shallon, like I don't I don't really travel. Like, this airport test is not all that relevant to me. Yes, it is. You know, what the airport is a microcosm of the world. Okay, there's factors outside of your control. There's people from like foreign lands. Things might not be in English. It is chaos personified, you know? And even if you travel a lot, that chaos can still get you. There's going to be something that comes down the pipeline that you're like, fuck, I didn't prepare for this. A water bottle explodes in your bag. There's a fight that breaks out at Spirit Airlines, you know, where it ain't going to be the Centurion Lounge, right? There's an elitist hierarchy, you know, like it is really representative of life. And in that little Sims world, what is your man's place? Now I look at Justin and Hailey, and it's tough because you might want to say, oh, well, he has money, he can fix anything. Money doesn't actually fix everything, because the person who I was dating, he had money. And when we were in these airport scenarios, these are not things money could fix. Like, I don't know the money that I can throw that makes you incapable of checking into a hotel, unless, yeah, you're at the level where there's like people doing this for you. Even then, you cannot outsource everything. And girl, listen to what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. He is fine as a man as long as he doesn't actually ever have to do anything a man would do. He works just fine as a man because he has enough staff to take over all the duties that he himself should be able to handle. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's like one way of looking at it. That's not the man I want to be married to. That's not the man I want to procreate with, because that is not a man I trust, and that is not a man I respect. That's not a man I respect. Recently, I guess not that recently, a few months ago, I was dating someone and they're like, tell me what you need to be happy. I said, I need good morning texts. Good morning, beautiful. I don't need to text your ass all day. I've got a lot of things to do, but I need to know that when I wake up, you're thinking about me, you know? And he's like, oh, I don't think I can do that. And I said, okay, I appreciate your honesty, but I cannot view you as a particularly stable man. And he's like, what? Like, I mean, what kind of person finds one text a day, every other day? It doesn't have to be even every day, every other day. Who finds that so taxing it's untenable and they can't do it? I mean, an unstable person. I'm like, how could I possibly evaluate you as a potential life partner or co-parent or anything like that? You can't handle a text. You won't pass the airport test. And he shattered like a leaf. He's like, ooh. Like, but listen, that's the truth though. And it absolutely was the truth, you know? And it's funny, like, I think he was actually kind of trying to play a game like, I'm too cool. And you flip it right the fuck back around on them. It's like, ooh, I didn't realize you were so unstable, like a crazy woman. So if you're considering having a baby with someone, or hold on, like we said, you don't have to be considering having a baby. I want you to do the airport test on everyone. And you're like, well, how do I, like, what if I don't know them well enough, you know? And it's like, yeah, he might potentially be able to like be the airport fixer guy. I don't know. We just kind of started dating. You have the data that you need, because listen, if I'm being honest, I knew before that trip to Vermont that man would not have passed the airport test. I saw it in little drips and drabs, all these little data points, teeny little red flags that I was like, no, I don't care. I don't care. And one of the things he would do is he'd be a great hype man about me taking care of things. Oh my God, baby, thank you so much for getting that car reservation. Oh, that's amazing. You're so smart. Thank you so much. And I was like, oh, thank you. I'm like a little purse dog. It's like, ooh, if you like pat me on the head and give me a treat, I'm like, okay, I'm loyal. And then it's like, in hindsight, I'm like, wait a minute. He was being very clever, very clever. He was pumping me up to take all the work off of his plate so that he, as a man, had to do nothing. And it turns out I was doing the work of both the woman and the man. What fun for me. What fun. So not only beware of the things a man can't or won't do, beware of the things that they are more than happy to let you do. And it might come in a very pretty package. It might come with a lot of cheerleading and yay saying and thank you. It might come with a lot of gratitude. I don't need fucking gratitude. I need usefulness. usefulness. Here's another way you can ask yourself, would this man potentially pass an airport test? Does this man make you feel safe? If you texted him out of the blue, oh my God, I really need help. I blew a tire on the side of the road. I'm freaking, I don't even know what to do. Maybe it's not that dire. I had the absolute worst day. Would you mind calling me after work? I just really need a pep talk from you because I know you'll know what to do. Are you like, I don't want to do that. What's at the root of that? Vulnerability. Do you feel safe being vulnerable with this man? Because let me tell you how this plays out when a kid is a factor. There's a lot of vulnerability, okay? I mean, think about how physically vulnerable you are when you're pregnant. I mean, there's a lot you're not going to be able to do. There's a lot you're going to need help with, and that starts before the baby even gets here. And if you don't feel like you can be vulnerable with a man and be like, I need a night to myself. I need to go check into the Holiday Inn and sit in the tub and I got to get the fuck out of here, dude. If you don't feel like you can say that, if you don't feel like you can hand that child off to him, if you don't feel like you can trust him to figure out how that crib comes together and how to install the car seat, does that not kind of tell you something? You don't feel safe with that man. You don't trust him. And if you don't feel safe with someone and if you don't trust them, why the fuck would you reproduce? What other animal in the animal kingdom would make that decision? Penguins don't do that. Only in this species, the most advanced, are we the ones picking up the slack? Are we the ones trying to impress ineffective men to get love? Penguins, lions, ducks, they're like, show me what you got. Show me what you got, big fella. I don't know. Is that rock? Is that rock for me? Did you make that nest for me? I seen better. We don't do that as much as we should. I mean, some of us do that. Good. That's where we want to get to. If you don't trust a man enough to show your heart and your soul to him, you know what's going to happen when you have a baby? You're not going to. And you're going to have all this, you're going to be like so strong and you're going to be in your masculine. No, I knew that you couldn't install the car seat. I knew that you couldn't install the car seat, Jackson. Okay. Just go the fuck back in. Ooh, that's attractive, right? That's a fun person to be. That's a fun person to deal with. Woo, we love it. Is this why men cheat? I mean, listen, that behavior doesn't happen in a vacuum. That behavior doesn't happen out of nowhere. No woman deserves to get cheated on. She might deserve to get left, but she doesn't deserve to get, like, for the guy to stick around and just torture her and gaslight her, you know? Like, not everyone should be in a partnership, but the consequence is someone breaks up with you. Not they just ruin your life. Don't even get me started. But that's a very unpleasant person to become, because then we entrench so much into our masculine energy. And single moms, you know this. Not single moms, you know this. Where how can you feel like a woman? And therefore, how can you respect your partner? Because he's not acting like a man, partly because you won't let him, because you don't trust him, because you have data that he can't pull up for you. Or so this is your perception. I'm not saying it's true or false. And then what is this dynamic? You're the man and the woman. You look at him as just this beta worm. What fun. What fun. Now we can look at Justin and Hailey and say, I wonder. I've told you guys what my mom said to me when she had me. And she had a rocky relationship with my dad. It was long, 10 years, you know, and it was kind of Justin and Hailey. It really was. And she looked down at me. I was a bouquet of synthetic flowers. And she's like, this is a baby. You're not a baby. This is a baby. I've been trying to parent you. You're actually a full-grown, college-educated, smart. This needs my care. You sell me on this idea that you do. That was the end of him. I mean, that was the beginning of the end. And I think that happens to a lot of women. You know, they're like, oh, the caregiver. And then they're actually caregiving. And it's like, what do you want? You again, with your problems and your anxiety. Shut the fuck up. I wonder if that's going to happen to Justin and Hailey. If she's one of those women who is just going to like gut it out forever, because that's what her mother did. Her dad was a drug addict, and her mom never left. And that was it. Like, she was never going to leave. And I think that's what was modeled for Hailey. And I'm sure that was enticing to Justin because his own mother left him. So to have a woman who is like, I'm not going anywhere. We're going to ride this out. We're going to ride out everything. I love you. You're my person. I love you. This is it. It's you and I. There really is something beautiful about that commitment, you know? And at some point, you do have to wonder, like, is that the recipe for a wonderful, successful, happy life? Or is it foolish? I heard a doctor recently say, divorce has to be an option. Otherwise, you're not choosing to be there. And how can you tell your partner, I really love you, like I choose you, if you aren't choosing them? It's like, well, I'm just stuck here. You know, divorce must therefore be an option. I thought that was really interesting. What do you guys think about that? I thought that was a really interesting take on it, because I had actually kind of subscribed to the idea that, like, you know, Dr. Phil always says, he's like, divorce can just never be an option. Or he says that about his own marriage, you know, not necessarily other people's. He's like, but that is the secret to our marriage, is we're working it the fuck out. We're working it out, you know? It's a thornier issue, obviously, than it seems. But here's the big question everyone always wants to know. Can a baby save a relationship? On one hand, making a child with someone is probably the most romantic thing you can do. I mean, wow, right? Like, that's crazy. You have sex, and then there's a person, not just a story of brunch, a person? What? This is madness. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And then you have this little like family. And it's like you guys, you're this little like unit, this little tribe. On the other hand, picture this. Things are not going great with your relationship, and you decide, let's have a sister wife. I know, let's open it up. Let's have a girlfriend or a wife, and she is going to not work. She's going to be really expensive to take care of. She is going to keep us up all night, every night, for, I don't know, 6 months. No, not with sex. She's just going to scream. She's going to scream. By the way, she is incontinent, so she has to wear diapers. Oh, did I mention she's going to chew your nipples off? And you might gain, I don't know, 50 to 60 pounds. I think that's really going to help your relationship. That sounds insane, right? That sounds like you were importing some sort of horrible poltergeist into your house. What the fuck do you think a baby is? A baby is a third party. A baby's a third party. At least a sister wife will probably work and probably not scream all night. And hey, if she chews your nipples off, she gets to go to prison. How about that? A baby, it's take. Now, of course, the return on investment is love. The return on investment is love. And for some people, that's more than enough. For some situations, though, it isn't. It isn't. And I do feel for men who I hate to say that they get trapped into being a dad, because, bitch, if you're not using a condom and you're like, I think she's on the pill, are you seeing her take it? Watch her take it. But if you're in that kind of relationship where you don't think you can trust your partner is actually on the birth control she says she is, dude, fuck around, find out, right? But I feel for people who find themselves an unwilling participant in parenthood. Speaking of, I understand that Florida has passed an absolutely unhinged abortion law. 6 weeks past that, you can't get an abortion. I want to tell you about a website. It's called Plan C, like not Plan B, but plancpills.org. There are telehealth abortion pills, okay? Even if you're not pregnant, if you're just like, ugh, I really don't want to get pregnant, call them and say that you are, okay? I don't think you have to provide a positive pregnancy test. It's all telehealth. And they'll call it into the pharmacy and just keep it in your medicine cabinet. All right? So pass this on. Post on your Instagram. Pass it around, because fuck that. Why do you want people? Don't even start. So if you think having a baby will save your relationship, listen, like I said, I get it. When I have been really down bad with my ex Tom, And he's the only man I was ever with that I would consider having a baby with. Do you know why? Because he looks like a giant baby. That's it. He's an absolute mess of a person, nightmare. He looks like a giant baby. And also I loved his family. And I could kind of like, picture it. You know, I could picture how it would work. I could picture the village. You know, I could picture the tribe. I could picture the family. And that's about it. I was picturing, though, being pregnant. I was picturing telling people. I was picturing all that applause. I wasn't picturing, what do you mean you can't pick her up from school because you're wasted? What do you mean you're not coming to her dance recital because you want to go hunting? Like there is a million things that I was like not picturing. I mean, I wasn't like actively trying to have a baby or anything like that. But you know, when you go into this fantasy world, you're cherry picking all the wonderful things. And you know what? Ask some parents, what do you wish you had known before you had a baby? Tell us in the comments here. If you had a kid with a man tell us, what did this man pass the airport test before you had that baby? Can he pass it now? Do you think he was the right choice? Do you think he was the wrong choice? Why or why not? Like, please, please, please share, because I think here we can shoot each other really straight without judgment, where it's like, you can't really ask your friends, like, hey, do you regret having a kid with your husband? Fucking try it, girl. Because people can't cop to that, because then it's like that cat is out of the bag. You can't really put that back in. And people don't want in their small circle to have that sort of scarlet letter on them, like, she doesn't actually want her kid, or she's in a really bad marriage. He's a bad father. But here we can say it because we don't know who each other is. So this is like a perfect safe space. Also, the Shallontrage is too. If you guys are in there, we talk about this kind of stuff a lot. And if you guys want to join, it's 25% off for the first 2 months. You can click down below. It's our little cozy corner of the internet. 5 extra videos a week, 19 group chats. It's just our little clubhouse. I fucking love it. I think we're actually just scratching the surface of this issue. As I was reading through everyone's responses, I'm like, we could do like 10 different videos on this because there is so much to unpack about having a child with someone. And I think that in some ways says it all. This is not a like, it's just the airport test, or it's just I have the maternal instinct, or it's just we love each other. There's so much that goes into this enormous decision. And it just seems like so many of the fertile people in this world don't ask themselves these questions. Why are dumb people so fertile? Not Justin and Hailey, but just, does it not seem like the dummies are just like shooting them out like clay pigeons, you know? But that is a problem, that smart people are overthinking, or maybe not overthinking, thinking much more judiciously about the commitment of having a child and who their partner is and the finances and the logistics, and they're waiting, or they're deciding not to do it at all. So truly the stupid are inheriting the earth, you know? Yeah. On that positive note, I'll leave y'all. Like I said, 2 Italy trips are launching next week. I am so excited. This is going to be truly the trips of a lifetime. So if you want to keep abreast of that and be one of the first to know, because like I said, these are very limited trips. They're going to sell out, and I would hate for anybody to miss out. So, okay, click the link and add your email, and you'll be the first to know when they launch. All right, tell me your thoughts on Justin and Hailey. I'll see you next time, Shalligators.